The academy floated high above the planet's surface, a silver structure that shimmered under the light of 3 suns. Inside, hundreds of students from different planets gathered in a vast classroom. Some had multiple arms, some had translucent skin, and others had eyes that seemed to see in all directions at once. They were here to learn one thing: how to spot a human threat. The instructor, Xyler, towered at the front of the room. His 6 eyes glimmered like polished stones, and his voice echoed clearly across the hall. "Humans are unpredictable," he said, gesturing to a series of holograms that flickered to life above his head. In each image, a human appeared to cause chaos, attacking, deceiving, or escaping in ways that seemed reckless. You must always recognize them as dangerous before they act. A murmur ran through the students. Many of them nodded, taking notes with tentacles, claws, or hovering devices. They had been trained to see patterns, to recognize danger, and humans, according to the academy, were danger itself. In the middle of the room, Ayla sat quietly. She was small for a human, with brown hair tied in a tight braid and sharp eyes that watched everything. She was the only human in this session, and the aliens did not expect her to speak. She had come here with a plan, not to hide, not to fight, but to prove that humans were more than the threats the instructors imagined. Xyler paused and scanned the room. "Who can tell me the first sign of a human threat?" His eyes landed on a student with 4 arms. The student raised one arm quickly. "Aggression. Humans show aggression in the first moments of contact." "Correct," Xyler said. "Always assume a human is aggressive. Do not wait for proof. They will act before you can react. Humans are dangerous." He turned back to the holograms. The images showed humans in crowded spaces, humans manipulating machines they barely understood, and humans leading others into battle with courage that seemed reckless. "Notice their unpredictability," Xyler continued. "No algorithm, no training, no experience can fully prepare you for a human threat. You must anticipate it at all times." The classroom was silent for a moment. Every alien present had learned to respect caution, to rely on training. Humans, they thought, were the one species that could never be trusted. Then Ayla raised her hand. The effect was immediate. A ripple of shock went through the room. A student with glowing skin froze mid-motion. Another with 6 eyes blinked rapidly, clearly unsure how to respond. Xyler's eyes narrowed and a hush fell over the classroom. No human had ever raised their hand in this lesson before. "Yes?" Xyler said cautiously, his voice sharp. Ayla spoke clearly without hesitation. "I think humans are not dangerous in the way you say. Humans can be brave, creative, and cooperative. We can cause harm, yes, but we can also solve problems in ways other species cannot." A wave of disbelief passed through the students. Some whispered to each other in strange languages, while others simply stared. They had never considered a human arguing against the idea of human danger. Xyler's multiple eyes focused on her. "Explain yourself, human. Show me how you would handle a threat." Ayla smiled slightly. "I will, but not with force first. I will show you that understanding, planning, and cooperation can stop danger before it grows." The instructor's tone hardened. "We teach patterns. We teach reactions. You are a human and you claim you can act outside the patterns? Do you truly understand what you are saying?" "Yes," Ayla said. She leaned forward slightly, her eyes steady. "Humans are unpredictable, but unpredictability is not always violence. Sometimes it is creativity. Sometimes it is courage. Sometimes it is survival, and survival can be peaceful if we choose the right actions." Xyler blinked. Well, as much as 6 eyes could blink. The class was quiet. The other students looked at Ayla with curiosity and a hint of fear. Many had been taught that humans were inherently dangerous. Now one human was telling them otherwise. Finally, Xyler spoke, his voice low but firm. "We will test your claim. Tomorrow you will participate in a simulation. You will face situations labeled as human threats. You must show us how you respond differently." Ayla nodded. "I am ready." The rest of the class resumed quietly, but the energy had shifted. Whispers filled the room as students speculated on how a human could act in ways no training could predict. Ayla sat back, her hand lowering slowly. She felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. For the first time, she sensed that she might truly make a difference here, not by fighting, but by showing the value of human choices. As the session ended, the students left the room, buzzing with anticipation and doubt. Xyler lingered, staring at Ayla. He was not angry, but he was wary. Something about this human unsettled him. Something about her hand raised with confidence challenged everything he had been teaching. Ayla watched them leave, her mind already planning for tomorrow's simulation. She knew it would not be easy. She also knew that if she succeeded, she could change how the entire galaxy saw humans. And for the first time in her life, she felt the weight and the excitement of that responsibility. The next morning, the classroom buzzed with anticipation. The aliens moved in small clusters, whispering to each other, their voices a strange mixture of clicks, hums, and tones that Ayla could not fully understand. Every eye seemed to watch her as she entered. She felt their curiosity, their doubt, and even a hint of fear. Xyler was already at the front, his 6 eyes scanning the room. "Today we will test our humans' claim," he said. "You will face simulated scenarios marked as human threats. We will see if your actions differ from our expectations." Ayla nodded. She had spent the night thinking about strategy, not just to survive, but to show the truth of humans. Humans were not simply dangerous, they were capable of creativity, cooperation, and courage. She had to prove it. The students were divided into groups. Each group would observe, while Ayla entered the simulation chamber. The walls of the chamber shimmered and disappeared as she stepped inside, replaced by a vast virtual cityscape. Crumbling buildings, flickering lights, and crowds of virtual humans filled the streets. Some humans ran in panic, others argued in loud voices. Occasionally, a human in the simulation lunged at another, showing anger or fear. Ayla studied the scene calmly. She could have panicked, like many of her classmates would have. She could have relied on force or reaction, but she did not. She saw patterns, not just of danger, but of choices. Some humans were defensive, some were aggressive, but many were confused, scared, or trying to solve problems. Her first action was simple. She approached a small group arguing violently. Instead of pushing them away or striking first, she raised her hand slowly and spoke clearly. The simulation responded as if her words carried weight. The humans paused, listened, and then worked together to move a fallen beam blocking the street. The aggression ended. Back in the classroom, the aliens gasped. Many leaned forward in their floating chairs. Xyler's eyes narrowed, a mix of surprise and skepticism. "Interesting," he muttered, almost to himself. Ayla continued through the simulation. She encountered a virtual human trapped under rubble. While the simulation warned of an approaching threat, she did not flee. She calmly lifted the debris using careful leverage, saving the human. Then she noticed a simulated human attacking a robot. She did not strike. Instead, she guided the human away, showing a path that prevented injury to both the human and the robot. Her actions were deliberate, precise, and effective. With every step, she showed that humans could be unpredictable, but unpredictability did not equal danger. Humans could act with wisdom, not just recklessness. The aliens observed in stunned silence. Some whispered to each other, their voices tinged with disbelief. Others scribbled notes furiously, as if trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Xyler, however, was the most affected. He had spent decades teaching that humans were inherently dangerous, and yet here was a human disproving that claim in real time. Finally, Ayla reached the central plaza of the simulation. A group of virtual humans stood facing a simulated threat, a collapsing building that could crush the entire plaza. Her mind raced. There was no time to wait, no room for hesitation. She gave clear instructions, guiding the humans to safety using both speed and strategy. Every human she led followed her guidance, avoiding harm entirely. The simulation ended. The walls shimmered back and Ayla stepped out. The classroom was silent. Every alien present was staring at her, their expressions a mixture of awe and confusion. Some could not believe what they had seen. Others whispered about how impossible it seemed. Xyler finally spoke. His voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed his shock. "Human, you have done what none of my other students could. You have faced the situations labeled as threats and changed the outcome. You acted without aggression, yet prevented harm. You succeeded." Ayla remained composed. "I did what any human could do if they think carefully and work together," she said. Her voice was steady, full of quiet confidence. "Humans are not only unpredictable in danger, we are unpredictable in creativity and courage, too. That is what makes us special," the classroom murmured. Some students looked inspired. Others looked doubtful, as if their minds struggled to reconcile what they had been taught with what they had just seen. For the first time, the lesson on how to spot a human threat felt incomplete. Humans could not be judged by fear alone. Xyler took a deep breath. He realized that the lesson he had prepared for years might need to change. He had always warned against human unpredictability, always emphasized fear and caution. Yet here was evidence that humans were more than that. They were capable of wisdom, compassion, and leadership in moments of crisis. The session ended, but the energy in the room did not fade. Students lingered, whispering, exchanging glances, debating what they had witnessed. Ayla walked out, feeling a mix of exhaustion and satisfaction. She knew the real challenge had just begun. The simulation had shown her potential, but convincing others of human value in a galaxy that feared them would take time. As she left, she glanced at the stars beyond the Academy's windows. She knew she had made the first step. Humans were more than the galaxy believed, and tomorrow she would show them even more. The next day, the Academy's hall buzzed with energy. Word had spread quickly. Ayla, the human, had faced the human threat simulation and succeeded where no one else could. Aliens whispered in clusters, their voices a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. Many were eager to see what she would do next, while others approached it with caution. Xyler stood at the front of the classroom, his 6 eyes scanning every student. He cleared his throat. Today's simulation is more complex. It will test not just your ability to respond, but your ability to think, adapt, and lead. Human unpredictability will meet human danger. Let's see how you perform, Ayla nodded. She felt the weight of expectation, but also a quiet determination. The lesson had already changed the classroom's atmosphere. The aliens were beginning to question what they had been taught about humans. Now it was time to show them the full potential of human ingenuity. She entered the simulation chamber. The walls shimmered and disappeared, revealing a city under siege. Virtual buildings burned, holographic crowds panicked, and debris fell from the sky. A simulated storm raged through the streets, making visibility poor and movements hazardous. Warnings flashed, marking humans in danger zones, some trapped, some attacking each other, and some frozen in fear. Ayla's first instinct was to assess. She moved calmly, observing each group of humans. She did not rush. She did not panic. Instead, she identified patterns, how the humans reacted, what areas were most dangerous, and where she could intervene most effectively. A group of humans was trapped under a collapsed bridge. They shouted, panicked, and pushed against the rubble. Many of her alien classmates would have resorted to brute force, trying to control the humans. Ayla, however, thought strategically. She gathered nearby objects, rods, panels, and beams, and created levers and supports. Using careful, precise movements, she freed the trapped humans without causing harm to anyone. The simulation responded with realistic reactions. Grateful humans followed her instructions and moved to safety. Next, she encountered a human who appeared aggressive, striking at a robot that guarded a crucial area. Many of the aliens watching would have labeled this human a threat and acted to neutralize them. But Ayla approached differently. She spoke firmly, calmly, and confidently. She guided the human away from the robot and explained what was happening. Surprisingly, the human followed her instructions. The situation resolved without violence, proving that understanding could prevent danger more effectively than force. The simulation escalated further. A large building threatened to collapse, endangering dozens of humans. Some panicked and ran toward the falling debris. Others froze in fear. Ayla assessed quickly. She coordinated groups of humans to form chains, helping others escape. She used her knowledge of physics and human behavior to move debris safely, clearing pathways and directing people to secure areas. The chaos was immense, yet her calm leadership transformed it into organized action. Back in the classroom, the aliens were astonished. They whispered among themselves. Many had never seen humans act in such ways, combining intelligence, courage, and cooperation to prevent harm rather than cause it. Xyler's eyes narrowed, not in anger but in careful consideration. He realized that Ayla's success challenged every lesson he had taught about human threats. Finally, the simulation presented its ultimate test, a group of humans trapped in a dome with rising water and unstable walls. There was no easy way to reach them. Time was short. Most species in the Academy would have panicked, their reactions predictable. Ayla, however, stayed calm. She analyzed the situation and found a combination of solutions. She instructed some humans to stabilize the walls, directed others to build a bridge with nearby debris, and coordinated a path for everyone to escape. She led the humans step by step, ensuring that no one was left behind. When the simulation ended, the walls shimmered back, and Ayla stepped out. Silence filled the room. Every alien present stared at her. Some were shocked. Some whispered in awe. Even the most skeptical students could not deny what they had seen. A human had taken situations designed to test danger and had not only survived but saved others, showing innovation, courage, and leadership. Xyler finally spoke, his voice measured but filled with newfound respect. Human, your actions are extraordinary. You have faced every situation designed to provoke chaos and have turned it into coordination and success. You have shown creativity and courage beyond what we predicted. Ayla smiled faintly, her eyes steady. Humans are not perfect, but we think, we adapt, and we care for each other. That is what makes us strong. A murmur spread across the classroom. Aliens who had once studied humans as dangerous began to see something different: potential, intelligence, and unpredictability in a positive sense. Humans were not simply threats. They were capable of heroism. They were capable of changing outcomes in ways no one could predict. Xyler looked at the students and then at Ayla. This lesson, it seems it will need to be rewritten. He paused. Perhaps we have underestimated humans. Perhaps we have judged them by fear, not understanding. Ayla left the chamber feeling a mixture of pride and quiet resolve. She knew her actions had begun to shift the perception of humans at the academy. Yet she also understood that this was only the beginning. Many would still doubt, many would still fear, and many lessons would still need to be challenged. As she walked through the corridors, she felt a spark of hope. Humans had shown they were capable of far more than anyone expected, and tomorrow she would continue to prove it. The day after the advanced simulation, the academy felt different. Whispers filled the halls. Students moved in clusters talking about the human girl, Ayla. Some spoke in awe, recounting how she had turned chaos into order. Others still doubted, hesitant to believe that a single human could achieve what so many aliens could not. Xyler, the instructor, watched the reactions carefully. He had spent decades teaching that humans were inherently dangerous, unpredictable, and a species to approach with extreme caution. Yet Ayla had challenged everything he believed. The simulation had shown him something impossible to ignore. Humans could think, adapt, and lead with courage and wisdom beyond expectation. He called the students to the central hall for a demonstration. Today, he began, you will witness the full measure of human unpredictability and perhaps its potential. His voice echoed across the high-ceilinged room, drawing every eye toward him. Ayla stood quietly at the side, her calm presence drawing attention even before she spoke. The simulation began. This time, the challenges were even more complex. Multiple zones of the city were in danger simultaneously. Fires raged, floods threatened buildings, and groups of humans faced immediate peril. The task seemed impossible, saving everyone while preventing new dangers from emerging. Ayla stepped forward. She didn't rush. Instead, she surveyed the entire scene, noting patterns, hazards, and opportunities. She identified humans who were panicking, humans who were aggressive, and humans who were frightened but willing to follow instructions. In her mind, she created a strategy, coordinating multiple groups simultaneously. Her first act was to calm a group trapped in a burning building. She spoke firmly and clearly, guiding them to safety while using nearby materials to control the fire's spread. Then she noticed another group near a collapsing bridge. She instructed humans to form support chains, using teamwork to stabilize the structure and prevent anyone from falling. Aliens in the observation area gasped. They had been trained to handle each zone with strict protocols, yet Ayla managed all zones at once, reacting to each danger as it came. Her thinking was fluid, adaptable, and creative. No protocol could have prepared anyone for her solutions. Next, she approached humans panicking in a flooded street. The simulation had placed obstacles in their path, making escape difficult. Ayla devised a makeshift raft from debris and guided the humans to safety. She combined risk assessment with leadership, ensuring that no one was left behind. Throughout the simulation, Ayla did not act with aggression. She did not strike first. She did not rely on fear to control the humans. Instead, she used strategy, compassion, and decisive thinking to turn every potential threat into a safe solution. Back in the observation room, the students were silent. Aliens who had once believed humans were dangerous stared in disbelief. They whispered, trying to explain what they were seeing. Some shook their heads, unwilling to believe that a human could manage such complex situations with intelligence and care. Others leaned forward, captivated by the demonstration. Finally, the simulation reached its climax. A massive building threatened to collapse, trapping dozens of humans inside. At the same time, a group of humans panicked near the edge of a flooded plaza. Isla acted quickly. She split her attention, guiding the trapped humans with precise instructions and calming the panicked group. She organized a sequence of actions, directing humans to work together, ensuring that everyone escaped without harm. When the simulation ended, the cityscape disappeared. Isla stepped out, her face calm, her eyes steady. The aliens around her were silent, their expressions a mixture of awe, disbelief, and reflection. Zyler, who had witnessed countless simulations and trained hundreds of students, felt a shift in his own beliefs. "You have done more than survive the challenges," Zyler said, his voice measured. "You have demonstrated qualities that no protocol, no algorithm, no training could predict. Humans are not merely threats. You are capable of leadership, creativity, and courage in ways we have not understood." Ayla nodded. "Humans can be unpredictable, yes. But that unpredictability is not always dangerous. We adapt, we learn, we cooperate. That is what makes us strong," the classroom murmured. Aliens began to speak openly, asking questions, debating what they had just witnessed. Many of them started to reconsider what they had been taught. Humans were not simple threats. Humans could solve problems, inspire others, and face danger without resorting to violence. Over the next few hours, students began requesting simulations in which Ayla would lead, curious to learn from her. Even those who had doubted her before wanted to see the methods she used. The academy was beginning to change, one mind at a time. The lesson about spotting human threats was evolving into a lesson about understanding human potential. As the day ended, Ayla walked through the quiet halls of the academy. Students nodded respectfully as she passed. Some smiled, inspired by what she had shown. Zyler watched her from afar, deep in thought. He realized that the galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. One human girl had already begun to show that fear was not the only way to perceive their kind. Ayla paused by the window, looking out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with countless species, each with their own strengths and dangers. But humans had something different. Creativity, courage, and the ability to turn chaos into order. She smiled slightly. Tomorrow, she thought, would bring new challenges. And she would be ready. Humans were capable of more than anyone had imagined. The revelation was just beginning. The next morning, the academy was alive with energy. Students hurried through the halls, eager to see Ayla and to discuss the simulations they had witnessed. Aliens who had once been certain of human danger now whispered about human potential. The entire atmosphere felt different. The lesson on spotting human threats was no longer just a lesson in fear. It had become a lesson in understanding and respect. Zyler called the students to the central hall. His voice was steady but carried a hint of pride. "Today," he said, "we will conclude our human threat sessions. But the lessons you will take from it may change how you see humans forever." He paused, looking directly at Ayla. "Human, you have shown us what we could not teach. Today you will demonstrate not only survival but leadership and cooperation across multiple species." Ayla nodded. She felt calm, yet a quiet determination surged through her. She understood that this was her final opportunity to show the full measure of human capability. The simulation chamber shimmered open, revealing a vast environment unlike anything before. Multiple cities, planets, and even space stations appeared in the holographic field. Dangers were everywhere. Collapsing structures, environmental hazards, and simulated crises that required coordination across species. Ayla stepped forward. She did not panic. She assessed the situation carefully, identifying which humans and other species needed guidance. She moved from one area to another, giving clear instructions, showing problem-solving strategies and coordinating efforts. She turned potential disasters into successful rescues. First, she helped a group of humans trapped in a collapsing tower. Using nearby materials and a careful understanding of structural physics, she guided them to safety. Next, she coordinated a rescue for alien species trapped under rubble, working alongside humans to create stable paths and safety zones. Her ability to think quickly and adapt to unpredictable situations amazed everyone watching. One challenge appeared particularly daunting. A massive, simulated storm was about to destroy a city, and several species were trapped on rooftops. Isla quickly organized rescue teams combining humans and aliens. She instructed some to use debris as bridges, others to calm panicking individuals, and some to prepare shelters for those who could not move quickly. Her actions prevented harm while inspiring cooperation among all the species present. Back in the observation room, the students were silent. Aliens who had been skeptical now leaned forward, watching every action. Even Xyler felt a mixture of awe and humility. He had trained many brilliant students, yet none had approached unpredictability and danger with the intelligence, courage, and empathy that Ayla displayed. Finally, the simulation reached its climax. Multiple cities faced simultaneous crises, and humans and aliens were trapped together in chaotic zones. Ayla split her focus carefully, guiding groups through separate dangers, ensuring that everyone worked together to prevent harm. She demonstrated leadership, empathy, and decisiveness, qualities that no lesson or textbook could teach. When the simulation ended, the walls of the chamber shimmered back into place. Ayla stepped out. The classroom was quiet at first, then erupted into murmurs and whispered discussions. Aliens who had once studied humans as threats were now questioning every assumption they had ever made. Humans were no longer just unpredictable. They were creative, courageous, and capable of inspiring cooperation. Xyler stepped forward. His eyes, usually sharp and critical, softened. "Human," he said, "you have done what we did not expect. You have proven that humans are not merely threats. You are leaders, thinkers, and problem solvers. You have shown us that unpredictability can be a strength, not a danger." Ayla smiled faintly. "Humans can be dangerous, yes," she said, "but only if we choose it. Most of the time we use our minds, our courage, and our ability to work together to create solutions. That is what makes us strong and valuable," the students whispered excitedly. Many came forward to ask questions, eager to learn from her. Aliens who had once doubted humans now wanted guidance on working with them. Inspired by the lessons Ayla had demonstrated, the perception of humans at the academy had begun to shift dramatically. Over the next few days, instructors began to rewrite their lessons. The session on how to spot a human threat transformed into a session on how to understand human potential. Humans were no longer feared as unpredictable dangers. They were studied as unique allies capable of remarkable feats. Ayla's actions had changed the entire academy. As the day ended, Ayla walked through the quiet corridors. Students and instructors nodded respectfully as she passed. Some smiled at her, inspired by what she had done. She felt a sense of quiet pride. She had not just survived the tests, she had changed minds and perceptions. She had shown that humans could be a force for good, for cooperation, and for courage. Looking out at the stars, she felt a sense of hope. The galaxy was vast, filled with countless species, each with their strengths and weaknesses. But humans had something unique. Creativity, courage, and the ability to turn chaos into order. She knew that her journey was just beginning, but she also knew that humans were capable of shaping the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. And for the first time, she felt that the galaxy might finally see humans for what they truly were, not threats, but a force of potential, ready to inspire, protect, and lead.